Hey YouTube, Petey Twofinger here, just talking about the channel. This started out as a place for me to store the old memories. As a kid, we worked with Super 8 cameras and made movies with plots. We did stop motion animation and had that stuff transferred to VHS and then later transferred to digital. In the 90s, using camcorders, I had filmed a lot of stuff and done stuff, music stuff, and then stuff with a plot, like goofy little things that I had made. So this didn't start out like with a lot of people where I'm going to have a guitar channel and be this personality. It started out with just a place to store my memories. It was a more selfish thing. And then with nobody watching, And then I started doing electronics and doing that more of like a show where I'm attempting to entertain and teach people a little bit of stuff. So I ended up doing some demo work, and it was like seriously like trying to do really good with it. And I've seen other people there's a channel that's specifically, he just does how to get your guitar to sound just like what's on this album. Like, we'll say Judas Priest Turbo Lover. And he'll set up the guitar and he'll use the same guitar, the same pedal, the same amp, the same speaker, and the same microphone to get that exact sound. And that guy gets 8,000 to 800,000 to 8 million views on each video, like just unbelievable. So I'm looking at this like negatively. I'm getting people leaving nasty comments and thumbing downing me. And it's like, I get this feeling that the entire guitar community is just people playing in cover bands saying my tube amp is the best thing in the world. It's not like that. I know there's a lot of good people out there following their hearts and making their own music, but I have this kind of weird trigger thing that's part of what I need to come to terms with, of that I'm not part of that anymore. I used to play in a band and I was playing covers and I was around those people. Well, I'm free from all that now, but not really, because I got people bugging me online all the time. Anytime I say anything about what I do, I get somebody chiming in how I'm a noob and an amateur because their tube amp is 100 real Marshall watts of British steel power. So you've done those peteys Peds videos, which I wasn't trying to be this big, the next, Brian Wampler, but I went on his page and left a comment, hey, Brian Wampler stayed home from work and binge watch every episode of peteys Peds today with a link. You should too. And I did that to every pedal place on the internet, like every show that deals with pedals, that I thought that maybe people that watch that would like what I do. Like, I didn't put it up on that other one about the covers. And I got like 100 views on that, which was great. I was hoping to get between 50 and 100 views on each episode of peteys Peds right off the bat. And that they would grow and maybe I would do all right. And I didn't. They skyrocketed down. And the faster I worked to put them out, the less views I got. So I took a long time off and put another episode out. That's how it's going to be. I always say you never know what you're going to get. Well, that's specifically to the demo, the part where I demonstrate it. You do know it's going to be me talking for anywhere from 30 minutes, maybe even an hour about the circuit. Hopefully it'll be educational and funny, and I can flex my writing muscle or write that stuff. Not that I'm good at it, but I can try to improve. So I had talked about doing these finishing videos with sanding. I did, the chassis came and they were so cheap. They were like $6.50 instead of $15 a piece. They were so pitted and nasty. They're made with like the bottom slag of the aluminum. I sanded a real lot one day on these three chassis and I was so sore. I still am. 2 or 3, it's going to be 3 days of like agonizing pain in my back. All of my muscles in my upper body are just torn up from that sanding. And I couldn't even put a dent in it. So I'm going to be painting a couple of those chassis. There's still going to be videos on the germanium, the testing. I've got a custom weird digital testing unit coming that I'm going to order. And the transistors they just got boxed up and they're beginning to be shipped from Russia. So all of this stuff is coming. It just takes a real long time. I'm going to do the alphabet punches on a chromed out. I got one good chassis, so I am going to chrome one out, make a video with that. A Marshall Governor, it's a wonderful circuit. I've got that built here already. So this stuff that I talked about, it's all going to happen. It's just being pushed back. There's all kinds of new live music. We've got 50 or so songs for the duo. There's 10 new songs no one has heard. One of them's a cover. I threw a MIDI file in and laid separate tracks out and assigned their own unique synthesizer for each track and custom found a really cool patch for each track and then remixed that. Eliminated the intro, and it does modulate, it changes keys. So we fixed all that up, and we're going to be doing that cover of Somewhere My Love or Lara's theme from the movie called Dr. Zhivago. So that's one people have seen, but trust me, there's 10 new tunes. They're kind of diverse, and they're really interesting songs. Donna's doing just fantastic on the bass. She got a second job. We're in this financial things. It's been a horrible spring. It's been freezing cold and rainy. The heater went out when the landlord was in India on his yearly vacation, so we were without heat for just forever. There was a huge thing in the building that lasted weeks, which what started off with the roof being redone, so it's remodeling, boom, 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 with hammers interrupting my sleep schedule. The wind ripped all the siding off the building, and then there was drama with the neighbors where the guy got caught cheating on his cell phone. So it was a huge fight. She cranked up some song called Temptations, was singing along for hours in the driveway. Then the fighting started of up and down the stairs, banging on the door, police. She moved out, up and down. They're taking one thing at a time. Took a week for her to move out. Then they made up, move everything back in, and now, oh, same thing. She's moving out again. So there was 4 police here, about 30 people, all of her friends, her family, his whole family, all of his friends. Another day they came and they buzzed on my bell to let in because they said he was up there attempting suicide. So it's been like non-stop people knocking on my door because the heat's not working and all these interruptions of my sleep schedule. Not to mention my wife getting a second job because we're in financial trouble. So I need her to bring me my pills and my food and keep me kind of company, from suffering so much. So this thing with the music, I know I'm a failure and I'm under depression because I haven't been able to work because I'm suffering this back pain, which makes it difficult for me to walk and get around, and I sleep a real lot. It's very difficult for me to fall asleep, but when I do, I sleep forever. So the music in this channel is the only thing that keeps me stable and going, but we haven't been able to get out of here because it's so unbelievably cold and rainy. So that's why there's kind of been a bit of a stagnation on the uploads. Just I haven't been well. It's been kind of a poopy time for me. So just letting you guys know, I'm going to be doing Petey's Peds. There's at least 100 of them here. I'm going to do an episode for each one, but they're going to be spaced out more. And I appreciate a little bit of love you can share for me, which means commenting, letting me know. Sharing and liking helps too. But again, this channel, it was never about me being some YouTube superstar. It was just a place for me to put my stuff, and then I did put myself out there and started doing tutorials, and I was just kind of attacked for that, for my sense of humor and how I do things unconventionally, and I try to save money. And so I have a bit of chip on my shoulder against the pros, the techs, and the experts, and the cover band, the tube tone crew, those people you hear me talking about that. And I know a lot of that's in my own head, but I don't go to other people's channels and rag on them. And I get that here. I delete it so you guys don't see it. I almost think it's a game, like they're communicating, like, oh, go this guy, you'll really be able to rile him up. But all of that it's just chicken feed to me because I have my music. And yeah, maybe you're seeing produced stuff, so I'm trimming all the fat and all the mistakes out of it, but then you have the live performances that speak for themselves. So there's going to be plenty more of that. We've got a new rig for the outdoor thing for the duo coming up. Petey's Pads is going to be rocking and rolling. There's going to be more DIY videos. I've got stuff cooking. It's all been kind of stagnating inside this funk of depression and all this extraneous, the BS of life that we all have to go through. I know it's not just me. I'm sure for other people, if you have your own home and you're not renting, there's less of that you have to deal with. Like if I had a basement, we could just set the amps up and leave everything set up with some lighting and have the cameras set up, and it would be awesome. But that just isn't the way it worked out for me, and I do the best I can to keep myself sane through this hobby of making music that I love so much to do. So thank you for being with me. I felt the need to make this video as kind of an apology because I know I was cranking out those peteys peds videos and then they stopped. But I just want to let you guys know it's business as usual, and you don't feel the need to comment. It's just a rough time for me, and certainly it's nothing to complain about. I mean, I've been through so much worse than this. This is nothing. I should be rejoicing. And I know how much fun we're going to have when we eventually get out there on that first nice day. When we get everything set up, everything's working, have a little sandwich or pizza that we bring with, and it's time to plug that first song, plug in and tune up, and I'm going to get this huge smile on my face and get this overwhelming dopamine release in my body that makes it all worth it. So, thank you for joining me. I'll see you guys around.